It's the Great Taylor C. Baker Show.
Hello and welcome back to the Great Taylor C. Baker Show. My name is Taylor C. Baker. I am baking my way through the Great British Bake Off in hopes to live up to my namesake and become a better baker. Today we are making sticky toffee pudding. There are a lot of elements to this cake. The sponge, caramel topping, TUILES, crème anglaise. There's a lot going on. And in the show, they had 90 minutes to do this, which is madness to me. We're gonna take our time, so let's learn how to make it. First up, we are going to make our TUILES. And I'm not really sure what a tuile is, but I do know it's supposed to be flaky and have a firm, crisp break. Like many of the bakes I've made so far, I had to make some Americanized adjustments to the ingredients. Part of this recipe calls for liquid glucose, which you can actually make with water and sugar, but I did some Googling and I think corn syrup is a similar substitute. That's what I'm using. Another thing that the TUILES need are hazelnuts, which is not that uncommon. However, I just couldn't find them in the store. The Google box told me that macadamia nuts are a similar substitute in both taste and texture, and because I was just in Hawaii, more on that later. Stay tuned for lots of looks inside that trip. I really wanted to go Hawaiian and use macadamia nuts. So let's pop on over to the stove and see how to make their TUILES. We need to place 3 tablespoons of butter with 2 teaspoons of lemon juice and 1.5 tablespoons of liquid glucose, or in my case, corn syrup. And we're gonna cook this at a low heat until the butter has melted. After that, we're gonna remove the pan from heat and sift in a 1/4 cup of flour and 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. Once we have that nice and mixed together, we are going to add in a 1/4 cup of finely chopped hazelnuts, or in my case, macadamia nuts, 1.5 tablespoons of regular white sesame seeds, and just a little less than a tablespoon of black sesame seeds. We're gonna mix this all together and leave to stand for half an hour. And now that our beautiful tuile mix has had its half an hour to rest, we are going to spread it out on a silicone mat and bake it at 350 for 12 minutes. For the sake of being efficient, while those are in the oven, we're gonna get to work on the toffee sauce. So you're gonna need 1/2 cup of sugar, a little less than 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream, 4 tablespoons of butter, and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And these sweet instructions that the bakers did not have gave us some instruction about caramel and toffee sauce. You're supposed to swirl it around the pan, not stir, swirl it around the pan. So let's go make it. Mix our sugar with 2 tablespoons of water. Get that sugar nice and dissolved with a low heat. Once the sugar has dissolved, we are going to increase the heat to medium and bring it to a boil. We're gonna cook it until the syrup becomes a deep amber color. Remove the pan from heat and carefully so you don't spill or splutter upon yourself. Add in our cream and butter and stir it gently. Then we're going to finally add our vanilla. Remove the pan from heat and leave it to cool. Oh, hello, beautiful tuile babies. You're looking nice and golden brown and crisp. Our caramel is setting. We're leaving it to cool completely, which gives us the perfect opportunity to cut up our tuile. It specifically says while the tuile is still pliable, which it is, we want to cut it into 8 triangles. So this is how we're gonna make our little house. I started with the pizza cutter, but ultimately found that a Paul Hollywood style large knife worked better to get a nice even cut. I'm gonna leave this to harden. Hopefully it will be like this. And if we're lucky, it will get that snap. While our tuile and our caramel is cooling, we are gonna move on to the pudding, which is a British way of saying a really moist sponge or cake. For the pudding, you're gonna add our 1/2 cup of finely chopped dates to a little over 1/2 cup of boiling water. And then we need to add our 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Give this a nice stir, remove from heat, and allow to sit for 15 minutes. While our dates are mixing with the baking soda to make whatever baking magic happens, we are going to mix the rest of our sponge ingredients together in our mixer. So we're gonna need 4 tablespoons of butter, 1/3 cups of sugar, 1/3 cups of brown sugar, 1 large egg, and 1/2 cup of self-raising flour. And we are gonna start by putting the butter and both of our sugars in our mixer fitted with the beater attachment. Beat the butter and the 2 sugars on a medium-high speed for 3 to 5 minutes until light and fluffy. Now we're going to add the egg and mix until well combined. Add our self-rising flour and mix on a low speed for about 1 minute. And now the mixer's work here is done. You can see there's still a little bit of flour there. The mixers are magical, but sometimes good old elbow grease is what does the trick. We are going to put this in here and mix it until it is nice and pureed and smooth. Gently fold this together and take care not to overmix. We get to use these fun little silicone molds. I'm gonna rigorously spray them with olive oils. And we are gonna spoon 1 tablespoon of our beautiful caramel mixture into the base of these molds and then fill them to the top with our batter. All right, these molds are filled and we are going to bake them at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes. Bake well, baby puddings. While our beautiful puddings are in the oven, we can move on to the crème anglaise. We are going to need a little less than 3/4 of a cup of milk, a little less than 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 4 large egg yolks, and a 1/4 cup of sugar. We need to whisk our 4 egg yolks together with our sugar until it is pale, fluffy, and creamy. We are also gonna heat our milk, cream, and vanilla in a pan over medium heat, and then we are gonna slowly pour our egg and sugar mixture over the warmed milk while whisking continuously until it is smooth and thick enough to coat the back of a spoon. Remove from heat and set aside. And be careful not to go too crazy with the heat because this is how scrambled eggs are also made. I'm about 10,000% sure my crème anglaise is scrambled egg, which is a very common issue, but that's okay. Hello, baby girls. How are we looking? We've spilled over, but we're toasty brown on top and nice and jiggly. That looks like a pud. Can I turn these out without them completely falling to bits? One down. Look how jiggly it is. The mold did work. Radio is really happy about that. Super, super happy. And now all we have left is assembly. So we're gonna super delicately take our beautiful TUILES and make a little tent over our individual sticky toffee puddings. Look at these. Magic! This is some of the most professional looking things I've ever made. So you serve this with your crème anglaise and your leftover caramel sauce, and you just kind of put this on here as you'd like. I'll drizzle a little more. A little crème anglaise over here, and let's give it a try. Oh my gosh. Even though my crème anglaise may be mildly scrambly, it does add a nice creamy texture to this otherwise very dense but moist cake. Thank you so much for watching The Great Taylor C. Baker Show. Be sure to hit subscribe and follow along every Thursday when I post new videos of my baking misadventures. And I invite you to bake along with me. Bake any of the recipes for my show. Please tag me at Taylor C. Baker on all the social medias and use the hashtag #BakeWithBaker. Bake with Baker, so I can follow along with all of your adventures in the kitchen. Cheers!
It's the Great Taylor C. Baker Show.